will the President/God Emperor for life ever choose a partner to reign alongside them?
What are you guys trying to spell?
I'm not moving it.
I'm not moving it either.
Jezebel? Who the fuck is...
So we knew Volition was going to announce something.
Yes.
We could all kind of predict maybe what franchise that would be that we would see returning.
Exactly.
And got a little predictability and a lot of new crazy stuff with their fun announcements. So there's a couple of things to talk about. So to separate, Re-elected is going to be Saints Row 4 for this current gen. It's coming to all of the current gen consoles and PC. Are they getting the update as well?
No, I don't think so because there's not really an update. And
Okay.
the speculation is that they're taking the PC version of Saints Row 4 and just kind of porting it to Xbox One and PS4, which would make the most amount of sense because that's where you get the highest graphical qualities on the PC version. But this version will have all of the DLC that they released on a single disc. So Saints Row 4 Re-elected on Xbox One and PS4, and surprisingly, they weren't really talking about that or showing that at PAX Prime. It was all about Gat Out of Hell, which is this standalone expansion that they debuted featuring Johnny Gat, and you can also play 2-player co-op with Kinsey Kensington, which is pretty cool. And
Which I didn't see. They weren't showing that either.
No, they didn't show Kinsey in the build that they had at PAX, which was a little disappointing. I would have loved to see her in her new costumes or whatever, because Johnny had those crazy awesome devil wings,
Which were gorgeous.
Yeah.
Actually, the effect on those was mesmerizing, which is a good idea since it's something you're going to be staring at like the whole time you're playing the game.
Exactly.
So I love open world games. I don't necessarily have time to play all of them. So Saints Row is a franchise that I wish I had spent a lot more time with. I'm kind of dabbled in both of these games, but this seems like a perfect opportunity to get a sample because it's standalone. You don't have to have, Re-elected's fun, but you can just get Out of Hell, and you can just play that, correct?
Exactly.
And it's a brand new map. They said it was about half the size of Steelport, but it's hell. It's
Yes.
not something that they haven't explored before. They were also talking about how there's a lot more verticality because you can fly anywhere now. I'm assuming right off the bat. Oh God, I can't believe I said that. But, like you're right, when you start the game, you can just take off, and so a lot of the environments are built for having races where you're going through buildings and structures have holes in them so you can fly through them. Where like the Steelport of the past didn't necessarily have that. So what really excites you about this?
Well, I think Saints Row succeeds at doing really wacky, crazy, over-the-top stuff. I mean, we've seen that in all of the Saints Row games, and it's only gotten progressively wackier as it has gone along, including all of the DLC that they put out for Saints Row 4.
Smartly so.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Good thing to focus on.
It's good for them to diversify, and I know some people really didn't like the direction they went with 4. They much preferred what was happening in Saints Row 3. Which is debatable either side. But what's great about the expansion, as you mentioned, is that you don't need to have any of the previous Saints games to play. And it'll be coming to both like 360 and 1 and PS3, PS4, and PC. And it'll be coming right alongside the new port for the current gen consoles. But they were just doing really fun things. Like, for example, they have weapons that are based on the 7 deadly sins because you're in hell.
Right.
And one of them is the sloth armchair, and so Johnny is sitting back in this armchair, and on the edge of the seat is like a machine gun, and then when you kick out the recliner, it like shoots like rockets. I mean, it's just so stupid. Like, who thinks up this stuff?
It kind of reminds me of the wheelchair from Dead Rising 2. You can go around with like the guns on it. But yeah, it definitely like the action is a lot faster, and yeah, definitely like super zany.
It was really interesting that they decided to bring back some old characters from the Saints franchise. Characters you may have killed in previous Saints games, meeting down in hell, historical figures. I was speaking with Steve Jaros, the creative director and the lead writer on the project at Volition, and he said that there will be characters that you wouldn't expect, like William Shakespeare is in hell. I'm like, what is Shakespeare doing in hell? And so you'll see characters from the original Saints game, from Saints 2, and then of course Saints 3, and potentially Saints 4 as well. So
it's smart because I guess if you're a Saints fan, like a lot of us were anticipating a new Saints Row, a whole new number in the series. So do you feel it's like a smart move kind of in the interim, to create, generate buzz for the franchise, keep people familiar with it? Maybe kind of something like Far Cry Blood Dragon, where it's like, kind of different from the series, but something you might want to invest just in this weird little Gat Out of Hell expansion, and then realize, wow, this series is really fun. Maybe I should go back and play Saints Row 4. Maybe I should anticipate another sequel down the road from the series. Is it a good move for them?
Oh, I absolutely think so. I mean, clearly this is a tide over until, Saints Row 5 or whatever they're going to call the next installment in the Saints franchise. I mean, it's $19.99. It's very affordable. They said just the main story campaign is about 6 to 8 hours of gameplay, but they have all of this ancillary content like Saints does, in the open world sandbox of Saints Row and now in Hell. And so if you take in all of those other things that you can do, I mean, that's a pretty solid chunk of content, for a really decent price, and especially not having to own the games. I think for fans of the franchise, it's great. I don't think that they're doing anything new. So if you've never been a fan of Saints, or Saints, is not that exciting to you, you're probably not going to be excited about this. But it's in January, relatively slow time. January 27th is the release date, before the big releases start happening in February and beyond. So, I mean, I think it was a really smart move.
I think one recommendation that I would say from someone who has, again, I'm getting like all the really good information from you because I don't have a storied history with Saints Row, but I really enjoy like your prototypes or infamous games, like stuff where you can zip around the environment really fast. I was talking to Daniel Bloodworth about the latest Infamous expansion, and he mentioned that like she can move even faster, than Delson could, and that just makes the map more accessible, makes it more fun. And encourages you more to play a little slice of like a little extra portion of the game because it's not going to take forever to run around the environment. And I mean, what's faster than wings just taking off and flying?
Yeah, well, and they had the superpowers that were introduced in Saints 4, which is great. And I really thought the superpowers added another level of combat and traversal that made it just that much more fun and over the top. And so couple that with this weird setting of being in hell and having all these demons spawn. Like I remember there was one point in the demo when we were playing, like this monster truck, this like giant red monster truck came in, and all of these like demons with these horns started pouring out, and he's just like mowing them down. I mean, that's the fun of Saints Row.
It's not you're like Watch Dogs or GTA or something where you're like harming like harmless pedestrians.
Right, exactly.
It's a lot of freaky looking things. Even just like the random like citizens of hell, these kind of emaciated like zombies that are roaming around. Yeah, definitely a fun aesthetic. Definitely one of the games that I noticed at the show, a lot of times some games demo well, some games don't. And especially if you're looking over the shoulder, it's kind of tough to like get a vibe of like what it's like to play the game. Every single time I saw anybody playing this game, they were always flying fast, shooting, like always like doing something. It was very active just to kind of take in all the screens, like all the carnage that was happening.
Yeah.
So a fun, active game. When are we getting this? When is this
January
happening?
27th, 2015. And so the expansion Get Out of Hell is coming to both Xboxes, both PS4 or PS3 and PS4 and PC. And then the Saints Row 4 Re-Elected is coming, of course, to Xbox One and PS4.
You gonna make some time for this?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, if I'm not like still like sucked into the RPGs that are coming out this fall, Shadow of Mordor and Dragon Age.
Well, it's just 8 hours. You just
That's true.
need to put on a pot of coffee and just
we could live
hammer
stream
through
it. It'll be fun.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.